Hello, I'm Scott Leopold of Cooperative Strategies, and this is the Facility Master Planning Scenarios presentation for District 5. This was presented to the community at Rains High School on March 25th, 2019. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Green for a brief introduction.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Diana Green, Superintendent for Duval County Public Schools. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to welcome you and encourage your active participation. Our consultants recently completed a study of each building to evaluate its condition. This Facilities Condition Index report was shared at community meetings throughout the district. Now we are moving into phase 2 of this process, shifting the conversation from past and present to the future. This evening and continuing over the next few weeks, our consultant will share and discuss a set of ideas designed to provide our students with an outstanding educational environment. Because the draft plan involves almost every one of our schools, we will be rolling out segments of the plan of proposed scenarios in each of the 7 school board member districts. You'll be able to see the entire plan outlined in a couple of weeks. I want to reiterate that what is being presented are the consultant's recommendations, and these recommendations are over a 10-year period. We need your input as we work through the details and develop a final plan. Ultimately, I will present the board with a very bold portrait of our future, a future in which public education is firmly established as a tremendous asset for living and learning in Duval County. Since each presentation is by school board member district, you'll only see a segment of the entire plan. I want to point out district level highlights from the draft scenarios, which include construction of 30 new schools as either replacements on site or on new sites. 17 consolidations impacting 42 schools, with children from those schools attending new or renovated school buildings. Any buildings no longer in use as a result of the consolidations would be demolished and the land sold to prevent former schools from becoming future blight. Security upgrades at all schools and removal of the majority of portables from schools across the district. Cutting more than 5,000 student seats from the district's inventory and improving the district's facility utilization rate. I want to re-emphasize that this is a bold and long-term plan over a 10-year period. That's why your input is so important. If you like what you hear, tell us on the survey. If you have concerns, tell us that too. Your input will help us refine this plan and help me make the best possible recommendation to the school board. Thanks again for being here, and I look forward to hearing your input on these initial proposals.
Hello, I am Scott Leopold of Cooperative Strategies, and I will be taking you through the rest of this presentation. I would like to begin by providing some more detail and add some additional points to what Dr. Green has previously mentioned. This plan constructs 30 new schools through a combination of on-site replacements and new sites. This plan also upgrades school security at all facilities. This plan also removes the majority of portables from every campus. This plan performs major repairs to all facilities that are retained. The building age of all the schools in the district would be reduced by a total of 13 years, so the average age would go from 44 years old down to 31 years old. This plan reduces a net of more than 5,000 total seats. This plan performs 17 consolidation packages into new or renovated schools. This impacts 42 current schools that would go into either replacement facilities on their current site, renovations or new facilities or renovated facilities at new locations. This plan would also save millions in annual operational revenue. This plan would increase school utilization from 82 to 86%. This would also provide 27% of the square footage in the district with new buildings. So nearly a fifth of all square footage in Duval County would be new after this plan were to be implemented. And finally, this plan would remove $1.07 billion in backlogged repairs. The total cost to implement this plan would be $1.95 billion. That would be $922 million in improvement, renovations, and additions, and $1.03 billion in new construction. I now would like to go through some terminology that you'll see prevalent throughout this presentation. Enrollment. Enrollment is the number of students attending a school. For planning purposes, we used a 5-year enrollment projection to the 2023-24 school year for each school. Capacity. This is the number of students a campus can hold. It is defined by the state of Florida and does include portables. FISH, or the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses. This is the state standard that defines school capacity. Utilization is the percentage that is calculated by dividing enrollment by capacity. Facility Condition Index, or FCI. This is the percentage that is calculated by dividing the identified physical deficiencies of a building by its total replacement cost. Consolidation. This is the action of combining 2 or more schools into one campus. This may result in 1 or more schools being vacated. Swing space. In some cases, some vacated campuses may be retained for use as swing space to serve as temporary locations for whole schools to occupy while their schools are being renovated or replaced. This slide provides some more detail on our Facility Condition Index. Again, the FCI is the percentage of the repair costs divided by the total replacement cost of a building. If a facility has a FCI of less than 5%, that is some of the best condition that we have in the county. If the FCI is greater than 65%, that facility would be a candidate for replacement. This slide and the following 2 slides just give us an example of what the utilization looks like at the district-wide level. This map shows every elementary boundary color-coded by its utilization, and this does include portables. So in the dark blues, we have the facilities that are less than 75% utilized, and that includes 43 campuses. We have 3 campuses at the elementary level that are greater than 105% utilized. It should be noted that this map only shows boundaries and their associated utilization, but there are additional magnet schools that may be over or underutilized that are reflected in our data but aren't shown on the map because they don't have boundaries. This slide shows the middle schools. We have 5 campuses that are less than 75% utilized, and then 2 campuses that are more than 105% utilized. And finally, here's the high school map. We have 4 campuses that are less than 75% utilized, and we have 1 campus that is greater than 105% utilized. This slide shows our planned funding for all of these scenarios combined. This is the $1.95 billion broken out by board member district. As you can see, District 4 and District 5 account for nearly 45% of the total allocation. This is because Districts 4 and 5 have the most need. They have the most schools that are the oldest. Other districts like District 1 and District 7, District 2 to an extent, have less of an allocation because they have newer facilities that don't have as much need as Districts 4, 5, and even 3. Now we'll begin to go through the detailed scenarios for District 5. The map on the left shows all the schools in District 5. It should be noted that the boundaries for some schools extend into other board member districts. The background shaded boundaries are the elementary zones. The orange outlines are the middle school boundaries, the purple lines are the high school boundaries, and the blue lines denote school board member district lines. This plan constructs 7 new replacement schools. It upgrades school security at all school facilities that are retained. Building age of all schools is reduced by 17 years, from a current average of 50 years old down to 33. This provides 32% of District 5 with brand new school buildings. This performs major repairs at all school facilities that are retained, removes the majority of portables, and this reduces a total of 5,862 seats. There are 8 different consolidation packages in this area, impacting 19 schools, and that's on both sides of the equation. Both the schools that vacated schools are being consolidated into and the vacated schools themselves. Overall utilization increases from 72% to 89%, and $223 million in backlogged repairs are removed. The total cost of all these scenarios is $405 million. with $144 million in improvements and renovations and $261 million in new construction and additions. This slide shows the replacements, renovations, and additions for the schools identified in District 5. It should be noted that this only shows replacements, renovations, and additions. Other schools will be shown on subsequent slides. Biltmore Elementary School is a renovation and a 12-classroom addition, which will consolidate Annie Morgan Elementary. Jacksonville Heights Elementary is a renovation. Jeff Davis Middle School is a combination of a renovation and also a consolidation. The students that are currently at Jeff Davis will be consolidated between Westview Middle School conversion and Jeb Stewart with an addition. The current Jeff Davis facility will then convert into a K-5, which will allow for the consolidation of Gregory Drive and Normandy Village. Normandy Village is in District 6. Jeb Stewart, as mentioned above, is a renovation and a 10-classroom addition, consolidating a portion of Jeff Davis Middle School. Bridge to Success at West Jacksonville will be a renovation. Grand Park Career Center will be a renovation. Paxton SAS is a 6-classroom addition. Palm Avenue is a 4-classroom addition. YMLA and YWLA at Eugene Butler is a replacement on site. Westview High School is a replacement on site. William Raines High School is a replacement on site as a 612, which would allow for the consolidation of Northwestern Middle School, which is part of District 4. SP Livingston Elementary is a replacement on site, consolidating Susie Tilbert Elementary. Pickett is a replacement on site, consolidating S.A. Hall and Reynolds Lane Elementary Schools. Rutledge Pearson is a replacement on site, consolidating Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary and Henry Kite Elementary. Henry Kite is located in District 4. There would also be a new ESE center constructed at the current Reynolds Lane site. This would be a replacement for a portion of Mount Herman, which is in District 4. That Mount Herman program is being split up into 2 locations, one on the west side at Reynolds Lane and one on the east side at Windy Hill. There are also some schools that are part of these scenarios that are in other board member districts. Hyde Park is in District 5. It gets a 20-classroom addition. And Northwestern Middle School in District 4 would consolidate into Raines as a 612. We would get a renovation and a 12-classroom addition, and then it would be converted to a K-5, which would allow for the consolidation of Rufus Payne, George Washington Carver, and Carter Woodson elementary schools. This slide illustrates the consolidations. As you can see on the map, it shows where the schools would be consolidated by using purple arrows. The consolidated schools are outlined in purple circles, and the receiving schools are outlined in blue circles. Martin Luther King Jr. will consolidate into the new Rutledge Pearson along with Henry Kite from District 4. George Washington Carver, Carter Woodson, and Rufus Payne would all consolidate into the newly renovated K-5 conversion at Northwestern Middle School, which is also part of District 4. Gregory Drive would consolidate into the newly renovated Jeff Davis K-5, along with Normandy Village, which is part of District 6. Hyde Grove would consolidate into the newly renovated Hyde Park, which is part of District 6. S.A. Hall would consolidate into the new K-5 at Pickett, along with Reynolds Lane. And again, we would have that new ESE center constructed on site to replace that Mount Herman, again, which is part of District 4. Annie Morgan would consolidate into the renovated Biltmore with an addition. And Susie Tilbert would consolidate into the new K-5 at SP Livingston. And again, Jefferson Davis Middle School would split between the converted Westview Middle School and Jeb Stewart Middle School with an addition and a renovation. This slide is an example to show what a possible layout could be for a 612 school like is proposed for William Raines. This particular school, this floor plan that we're showing here, was recently constructed in Huntsville, Alabama. It was also the result of a consolidation of a middle school and a high school. It is Ronald McNair Junior High and Mae Jemison High School. This facility was laid out in such a way that they're really separated. On the left side of this floor plan, this is the junior high site where they have their classroom core, they have a dedicated gymnasium, they have their own administrative suite, and they have a cafeteria and a serving line that connects through a back corridor into the kitchen area that supports both buildings, the junior high and the high school. And then the high school has their own dedicated serving cafeteria, along with admin suite. And then you can see they have their separate academic cores, auditorium, and then 2 gymnasiums over here on the high school side. Again, this is not to show you this is what William Raines could look like. It could look very different, but this is just an example of how a true 612 can function, and how they can be separate facilities that don't have students that are commingling with students outside of their program. But at the same time, middle-aged students would have the opportunity to access high school programming via this corridor if they were ready for it. And so those are just some of the features of this particular design and how they could be implemented into something like a Raines 612. This shows the overall impacts of District 5. We've split this up into 3 pages. This shows all the elementary schools. We show our 5-year FCI, a current 5-year utilization. So this is what the utilization would look like if we didn't make any changes. Our identified deficiency costs and our actions. Some facilities do show, address identified FCI issues. We see our FCI deficiency costs and our renovation demolition costs and our total costs over here. These gray areas would indicate that we no longer have our enrollment here, and so we show a demolition cost for those schools. And then you can see on the subsequent slides what we might have for enrollment in those replacement or consolidation schools. Here's the same data for our middle schools, high schools, and other schools. As you can see, looking at Eugene Butler, we show 32% FCI, 35% utilization. Our identified deficiency cost is $14.6 million. We show a little over $1.6 million in demolition costs. And then you can see we have our replacement school down here for $16 million. That would be 86% utilized because it is right size for that program. So you can see all these schools, what their actions are, what their costs are, and what the resulting utilization would be. And just for reference, on this slide, we've listed out the schools that have implications in District 5 that are in other board member districts. You can see Henry Kite Elementary School, Northwestern Middle School, Mount Herman from District 4, and then from District 6 we have Hyde Park Elementary, Westview K-8, and you can see what their actions are, and then what the resulting utilization is. That concludes this presentation. Wanted to let you know that the project website is online. The URL is bit.ly/DCPS FMP, or you can use the QR code to the right. This includes all materials along with an online survey. Your feedback is very important to us. We want to know how you feel about the scenarios as that are presented. We'd also like to know if specifically if there's anything that you think that we could do better, any changes that you think that we can incorporate into any recommendations that go to the superintendent that you feel it will make it a stronger plan. The survey will remain active until midnight on April 2nd. And again, thank you for taking the time to view this presentation, and we look forward to seeing your feedback.